I'm okay, I'm in the outer suburbs of the city center, what I guess you'd call downtown. Only thing that has affected me is the smoke the sea.
I got you. The city has been blanketed with, to finish what the bot was saying. Yeah, sorry my fucking shit crashed as well. I hadn't even been streaming for 30 minutes. It's so weird how that shit works sometimes. Yesterday I streamed for like 5 or 6 hours without an issue. And then the day before that, I also streamed for like 6 hours with no issue. Well, actually, never mind. My game, Bloodborne, crashed when I was playing it, but it crashed pretty much because I forced it to. Not forced it to, but I was doing stuff in the game you really shouldn't do. Oh yeah, that's right.
And like a week and a half ago my suburb lost internet for 6 days. Quite strange, the stream crashed.
Yeah, it happens. There are some days, like, at least 2 or 3 times a year, I'll have a day where it'll just keep disconnecting me, and there's nothing I can do. And I'll wait like a couple days and then try to stream again, and it'll be perfectly fine. Sometimes I think it's just the YouTube servers, because nothing was up with my internet as far as I could tell. Not unless my ISP is pulling wires out or replugging in wires.
Yeah, just haven't really been interested in playing or watching anything lately. Didn't mean to worry you, sorry I never hit you back up.
It's fine. Whoa! I gotta remember not to shoot enemies that close to me like that. Stand in the fucking circle! No! Has 30% chance not to consume ammo. Moxie's endowment. I need to take this gun off. That gun's gonna be baby damage. Pretty much the only thing I can do against this guy is fire damage.
How have you been though?
Alright, in terms of physical stuff, but I've been sick. It was way worse a week ago. I couldn't even talk without having a froggy throat. That's typical for around here in the winter.
Just a common cold.
I don't know. Probably something like that.
Glad you're better now though.
I love when that happens. I think the kids' work is better, actually. So, surprised it didn't cause me to die more hilariously. If anything, the circle it was locking me in was like a perfect avoid circle. But yeah, that happens with my controller sometimes. My Borderlands controller is super jank. Another Moxie, but that one has 44% mag size. I didn't even know you could get a mag size above 40%. Well, I guess you can now because the level requirement, or the level cap is 53 instead of 50. 44% mag size. Black hole, she's gone from suck to blow. Hot drop. I just realized I haven't gone in here yet. You can only go in it once, like a play session, unless you completely quit out of the game. Or under specific circumstances, they'll respawn, but I wouldn't ever rely on it. Plus, it's never worth it. I'm on the hardest difficulty right now. To just give you an example of how bad farming chests are in Borderlands, they have a rare loot chest event, which basically just makes chests like that spawn legendaries. Because otherwise, it's never worth farming chests in any Borderlands game, for that matter. I think BL1, you could make a case against farming chests, because you have to get certain guns. If you want to get a Pearlescent, you pretty much have to farm Nox's Armory. There's no other way around it. You have to farm the chests in the armory. You can't, there's not even a guy you can kill. I hope that they learn to stop doing that with chests in Borderlands. It's like in any other game, you open a chest and it means something. In Borderlands, you open a chest and it's like green, blue, purple. Meanwhile, you can like kill a boss in normal mode, not in the highest difficulty, and get legendaries regularly. My first playthrough, I had like 7 legendaries before I was even level 30. And you only get more. I don't even know if a single weapon I have in my inventory right now has ever came from a chest. Some of them can't because they're drops that are unique to things, so again, why would you farm a chest? Because I am on the highest difficulty on Mayhem Mode 4. Plus 850% health, plus 1000% shields, plus 1000% armor. 700% loot increase. Enemies have greater increased area of effect. Does that mean if he does a slam, it's gonna fucking one-shot? What the fuck happened? Holy shit, I just got like fucking vacuum cleanered. It like didn't cause my character to slide in the appropriate direction. Yeah, it's definitely better to use. God beam. It's God beam, Grave Ward, coming at you live. Where's me monkey? Shot. Damn it. Supercharged 10-gallon. I don't know if I've had that gun yet. Is this a joke? I mean, it is a TDR, but... Oh, so it's like a Ratchet and Clank turret. It's like one of the little minions from like Ratchet Deadlocked. What happens if I swap away? Oh, cool. So you just feed him ammo. You just chuck him ammo. What the hell? Oh no, he just blew up. My friend! Magazine size 9.
F.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's this gun. I wish this gun was better. Because I love the side sight that it has. What is this? Call of Duties or something? Is this one any different? It has a different barrel. It fires in an A pattern if you didn't know. The burst. See? I don't know how easy it is to see that. Oh yeah, that's right. Nothing leaves fucking bullet holes on it in this game. Only the floor does, for whatever reason. Borderlands bullet physics. I will never understand you. But yeah, it shoots an A. That one might actually not be bad. Just because of the anoint on it. That anoint isn't really that great. You don't really need reload speed or handling in a fast reloading and well handling gun.
The floor is the only solid thing. The rest is a hologram. Wake up, you're living in a simulation.
I couldn't even tell you what movie that's from. I want to say... No, I don't have a clue. I was going to say The Matrix, but I was like, no, that's not in The Matrix. 1 second though, I need... Did you ever end up getting, Neo? I can't remember. I know you've been really busy, so I can understand you not wanting to invest a lot of time into a video game that takes a lot of time investment. It's kind of like this game. It's like this game is fun on the surface, but when it comes down to it, this game is also spend 12 hours getting one gun because it's one of the only guns in the game that'll kill shit in high difficulty where you get good loot. So if you want to get good guns that have anoints on them, you have to do stuff in high mayhem mode, which high mayhem mode requires you to have good guns. To even have a remote chance at doing any damage to anything. Like those, the basic enemies in that boss fight, those things aren't especially tough. That's just actually how hard it is. And like most of the guns in this game, and it's the same with most Borderlands games, they struggle to even remotely be useful.
I added it to my library when it was available first plus, but I'm yet to download and try it yet, but I still have all the intention of blah.
Blah. Fucking bot. Look at my... People with Nintendo Switches talk about Joy-Con drift because their controllers actually just Nintendo'd. They got Nintendo'd. PlayStation do what Nintendo don't, but you do get it with some controllers when they get old, as you can see here. Because like I say on the stream, the analog stick does not look like it's cocked in a direction when it's moving on its own like that. And if I just like flick it or touch it gently, it'll fix it like that. But if I like move the analog stick around in the correct way and then let go, see, it'll get stuck going in that direction slightly. I don't know why this controller does that, but... Because again, if I flick it, it's fine. It's so weird. Freaking haunted controller. I want to try and go kill, Aurelia, but Aurelia's in the Black Barrel Cellars, right? I'm asking like you know this game. I can't remember myself. I'm asking myself. Hold on. I need to be right back real quick. It should only be like a minute. Yeah, we're...
But yeah, just been busy, haven't had any desire to play anything at all, just burnt out.
Oh wait, this is Aurelia's boss fight room right here. What am I thinking? Yeah, I understand, dude. I'm gonna be playing Neo 2 next month, so... That's what I'm excited for, but that's because I had already liked Neo 1. Neo deserves to be a PlayStation Greatest Hits, but it's not, because it didn't sell enough. But it sold a lot more than the developer thought it was going to. And it sold way more, considering that a good portion of the people who played the initial versions of the game wrote it off as Samurai Dark Souls. Samurai Souls. You dodge and you attack. Oh man, Borderlands is such a Souls game. You have to avoid attacks. You have health. You get killed by bosses. The only things that are unique to Souls games no one ever talks about. And the few people that do latch onto those things as the reasons why all games are similar to Souls games. When really Souls games stole half of their design concepts. The only thing it didn't steal was its online play functionality. The online play functionality in frickin' Dark Souls is the most uniquest. It's not necessarily good, but it is definitely unique and weird. But it's a pain in the ass. Because if you want to play with your friend, you have to both load into the game, you have to put in a password, and then you have to both put down, in the case of Bloodborne, one person has to use a bell, and then the other person has to use another bell, and then you have to wait for the magical server to connect you. Within, like, the actual game world, there's no lobby system. It's just, like, seamless. The person just shows up in your game, and then when they die, they just disappear and go back to their own game. And there's no dedicated co-op mode, even though there's co-op in the game. So it's like, you kill a boss in co-op in a level, right? That doesn't mean you completed the boss. You still have to go and complete it with your friend again. So if you're playing the game with a friend, if you're playing like Dark Souls 2 or Dark Souls 3 with a friend, you kill the boss with your friend, and then he kills the boss with you in your world. And you have to fight every single boss twice, basically. Until you get to the end of the game, in which only one person gets to complete the game at a time. Except for in Dark Souls 3, because Dark Souls 3, they actually weren't a complete retard about their game design and actually made it so that you could not go to NG Plus upon fighting the last boss. So in Dark Souls 1, if you played through the entire game with a friend somehow, even though half of the areas in the game don't even allow co-op in Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2 is the same way. A good portion of the areas don't even allow co-op because they don't have bosses. And you can only co-op in an area that has a boss alive. And shit like that. So it's like, as much as people say it's so great, everything else about a Dark Souls game had existed.
Really stupid.
Exactly. If you're trying to co-op with someone, it is retarded. But that people who, if you dare call that retarded in an online forum or in a comment or anything about the game, you'll be met with 100 angry individuals who all like to do a system that's called invading. And they'll just sit waiting in a level with their invasion thing up, trying to invade your game. So an enemy person will most of the time have an easier time getting into your game because you're co-oping. So not only does co-oping already have scrupulous dumbass requirements, it also can be immediately ruined by a guy loading into your game with a super jacked up twink character who plays the game for 1,000 hours a week. I know that's impossible, but it's just an exaggeration for the sheer fact that the people take the game to another level of seriousness. If you think people who play MMOs take a game too seriously, the fucking Souls fan base is the only fan base in which a game has uncut content that you can access because the fan base is so crazy about data mining and finding out every single little detail about the game. For no reason. It's not like the game is somehow intricately better crafted than every other game that's out there. It was just a game made in a time when people were looking at game difficulty as a measure of how bad the game was. And that was a problem. If the game was nearly unbeatable, it was a bad game back in the 2005 to 2009 to 10 era. And then Dark Souls came along and it shoehorned, oh, I don't have any difficulty, and when you die, you lose your souls. They totally haven't had a thing like this in an MMO, except for way more punishing. Oh, checkpoint or thing-based healing systems? I mean, I can't specifically tell you off the top of my head an exact game that had an Estus flask in it, but I can tell you for sure that there were at least 10 to 15 PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 RPGs that had a checkpoint-based healing system. So because that's all Estus flask is. Blood vials are more unique of a system. But even then, a blood vial is just a consumable, whereas the Estus flask in Dark Souls is infinitely rechargeable. Every time you die, it recharges. Every time you go back to a bonfire, it recharges. It's just this magical green flask that is apparently broken to shards, because your way of upgrading it throughout the game is to put the shards back on it and like fucking hot glue it together to make a full flask. And then you can actually have your 15 charges of your Estus flask by the end of the game, which you don't even normally need by that point. I don't know. People who like fucking like lift the Souls games up to another pedestal of like game quality. I talk about this regularly when I stream Bloodborne and stuff like that. How I love Bloodborne. It is one of my favorite, like, PlayStation 4 games. But there are so many people in the Souls community that are insufferable to talk to about the games because they have no, like, they've lost it. They've gone into complete fanboyism instead of having rational, like, an outward perspective on something. Trying to look at the game as if you haven't looked at it before. And that's why I love showing people who don't know anything about the Souls community. I love telling them, A, about the games and the systems that the people love so much. Again, if you talk to people about Souls games, you could ask 20 different Souls community members, and they'll probably all tell you a different thing that they like about the game as their main reason why they like the games. One could tell you, oh, it's the boss fights. Oh, I like the level design the most. I like the enemies. I like the armor and gear customization. I like this. And it's like, you could have so many different people say this, and none of the people are going to tell you a single thing that is the actual reason why Dark Souls is a unique game. Which is what I was talking about with the online. And then the few people that do go like, I like the online and PvP aspect of it. Those few people who say that are the people who no one wants to come across in their game. They're the kind of people, like I said, that sit in a level all day long. From the second they get home, they turn on Dark Souls 3 or whatever. They probably don't even have a job in some cases, because I swear you can meet the same people all the time in those games. And that's all they do. That is literally all they do, is they just sit there, they invade a guy's game with an incredibly broken setup. They go over to the guy and they like, the host or whoever they're invading like tries to swing once or twice. The person rolls through every single attack the person does and doesn't get hit once, and then taps that person one time for half of their HP, and then taps them again for the other half of their HP with a super fast running attack, and then does a point down gesture, and then a patches squat, and then throws a stock dung pie on the ground so it looks like you're taking a shit on the person. No, I'm not joking either. That is literally what people do in the game. And people are fucking insane in that game. Both in a good way and in a bad way. And like I said, depending on who you talk to when it comes to Souls games, you're going to get completely different answers, completely different descriptions about things, because people can't view shit in a rational manner anymore. People just fucking... If Dark Souls was like an anime girl, you have the thousands of weird people who are just sitting in front of the anime girl, when in reality, I know that behind the mask, it's like a fucking demon. And it's like, none of these people will listen to me about any of that stuff, and they're just slowly being eaten over time by this fucking game that I don't even want to necessarily say is bad. It's just the way that the community treats it, and the way that every single person who gets into it acts like it's somehow this like revolutionary experience, like Legend of Zelda or something like that could never have the same experience or gratification. You never had to struggle to beat a boss in a video game because you're an entitled 13-year-old on the internet who thinks that third-person action games only existed when Dark Souls came out. Any other rational human being, even as much as, and I don't normally like to mention people on my streams unless they're friends of mine, but even people like Lobos Jr. has begun to get tired of hearing the term Souls-like. When the person that used to call games Souls-like has started to get annoyed at the term Souls-like, because literally any fucking game gets called a Souls-like nowadays, that's one of the biggest problems. It's absolutely ridiculous. Sorry, I was ranting. I was also trying to get some food, but it happens to me every single time I talk about Souls games, because they just have the most unrealistic fan base on the planet. Like, there are fan bases of games that are ridiculous. I think the Souls community is both the most craziest and best in the most dynamic duo of ways. And I mean that because you have the half of the community that just tries to do like lore and cut content and stuff like that. And then you have the other half of the community which makes nothing but troll PvP videos. And although troll PvP videos, I'll admit, I watch them and I think some of them are funny, I'm also just like, if I ever encountered you in my game, I'd be that person in the video where it says, the internet, or you have been disconnected from this session, or whatever, because I just pull the fucking internet. I just don't care. Or like I do on my streams now. Someone invades me in Bloodborne, I'll just walk up to the invader, wave, and just stand next to him. If he wants to kill me, go right ahead. I don't give a shit. And what's funny is, most of the time they realize that I refuse to fight them, and the past 4 times I've been invaded in Bloodborne, the invader just fucking leaves. He just instantly fucking, like, uses the silencing blank and teleports himself out, which I just find so fucking hilarious. Because it's just like, even when the invader has gotten to the point where they know that the person doesn't give a fuck about the invasion at all, it's like, kill me, dude. What do you gain? You get like 10,000 souls and no gratification because I don't want to fight you. Kill me in 2 shots. Hilarious. I don't care. You can call it a bitch mentality, you can call it a baby mentality, you can call it man up and fight the invader mentality. I call it, I don't like the fucking mechanic and I wish it was a co-op game mentality. That being said, I am a person that does have invasion videos on my YouTube channel, but the invasion videos I have were very specific types of invasion videos, where if I was invading, I was normally a Sunbro invader, and what I would do is I would kill all the other invaders.
Experiences, though.
I would kill all the other invaders before trying to kill the host. And if the host was like at the bonfire and was at like no HP or restores, I would just leave. If the person clearly didn't want to fight, because I was basically just there to kill invaders in other people's games, because that's one of the things that I hated the most. There is then I used to do dried knuckle PvP, where I made a twink Great Axe character to fight in one of the first areas in Dark Souls 3, and then I streamed me playing it and recorded a couple videos and stuff like that on that back then. And you can, I think one of the videos is called like Dark Souls 3 hardest PvP fight I ever had, and it's like an 8-minute long video of me fighting against these 2 super sweaty try-hard invaders that had been invading this one level in Dark Souls 3 for probably 3 hours, and were killing all of my co-op summons. Not my co-op summon, sorry. When I would be a co-op summon in another guy's game, he'd end up getting killed by this fucking straight sword, like, Marion straight sword wearing guy that was doing, like, super boosted damage at such a low level. 2-shotting people. So I made a Great Axe build that did the same thing he was doing, just with way less stat dedication and not having to go through 3/4 of the game with an unleveled up character. Because that's what I mean. There are so many, and you can watch that stuff, because I used to do a lot more PvP in regards to, I hated PvPers when I started playing Dark Souls, and I never liked being a PvPer who just invaded a guy's game to just straight run at him and just attack him. So when I got bored, I would just be the, I guess you'd say, the white knight of a zone and just, like, sacrifice myself. That's why if you ever play through Dark Souls, I don't recommend summoning people, and I don't even recommend playing online. If you play it on PC anyways. Playing it on console isn't as bad, but even on console, people have figured out how to save, edit weird items in that shouldn't be in the game, or shouldn't be accessible in the game. I don't know, like I said, I love Bloodborne. I think Bloodborne is a hell of an experience. If you've never seen the game, or never gotten to play through the game from start to finish and have never seen anything about it, that is like one of the best games to get into when you don't know what you're getting yourself into. That game is very difficult and very rewarding, while at the same time also being very easy once you learn how to play it. I always tell people that I feel like Dark Souls 3 is a way, way harder experience than Bloodborne. Dark Souls 3 has like the twin princes, freaking the twin demon princes as well, or whatever they're called. The demon of song and the demon of... wait, no, the demon of song is DS2. That's the frog boss. I can't even remember their names in DS3 because I hated them so much. Then you have the Nameless King, Midir, Gale. Midir with the best set that I could come up with when he came out. It took me 5.5 minutes to kill him. But that was also pre-nerf. Sorry, I was out having a smoke. And it's really cold out, so I have to put on like several layers because it's like -15 out. I hate the fact I rant about the Souls shit so much. Eventually it's going to come back to bite me in the ass someday. I don't know when that day will come, but it will. Just because that community is so crazy. Oh, and how I completely forgot about Ashes of Ariandel as well. Ashes of Ariandel with the 3-phase boss fight where it's like, oh, you get the HP bar to 0 and then it fills back to full again. And then you fight 2 bosses at the same time, get their HPs to 0. And then at 0, the boss kind of like ends for a second and makes you think that it's over, and then the corpse of the girl sets on fire, and then it's a fucking 3rd phase again where it's 3 full HP bars of a normal boss back to back to back, and you have to do it all in one. That shit is very, very difficult. I think that's one of the only fights in DS3 I summoned for the first time I fought it. Well, not the first time, but first time I beat it. Like I said, though, I love Bloodborne. As much as I do have, like, a gripe with some of the bosses' designs in it. It actually doesn't do too bad of damage. But that's just a normal zealot. It's an enemy with a shield. Never mind. It doesn't do that great of damage. Oh yeah, I forgot. I need to change the guns on that. Looty boy. And no, I'm not just saying that. That's actually what the yellow parts are called. They're called looty boys. Hello? There's something in the wall. Oh, that guy. Is that a homing Merv Keenfire? Yes, it is. But how many Mervs? Three, right? 3 or 4.
Back.
Welcome. Yak. The graffiti that they put all throughout this building is way too nice for a bunch of bandits. That's bansist. That's bansist. Assuming that a bandit cannot be artistic. How dare you? Good sir. Save point. And then... She's healthy. I should probably use the shock one to get through her shield. God, I should have been watching my health. God, I couldn't hit it. Now I don't have rockets. Jesus Christ. What a great sound. Yeah, I know. This boss sucks to find. That's why I was using the rocket launcher. You don't have to listen to that. It just chunks the HP instead of draining it. Because that's what does that. Shut your face. There. Yeah. Next time I kill her, I'll just have the dialogue off. Or else you have to listen to that every single frickin' time. I'd rather listen to the frickin' shitty stock sound effect of the guy screaming from Scary Movie. The This is actually very similar to a song in Monster Hunter. The Kushala Daora song. That part of it, anyways. Oh, wow. That's a OP, or not OP, a Mayhem 4 exclusive weapon. That's kinda bad. It's kinda bad. I say kinda because the one reason why it's bad is the projectiles are piercing, even though it's a splash damage type weapon. It's a Torg weapon, so it shoots explosives, but the explosives pierce, so you don't get to hit the enemy with the explosion part.
You back.
Yeah, I've been back for the past 45 minutes or so. It's just when my stream crashes, it makes a new link, so. Wow, what the fuck? Oh, it's black hole level 52. That's a Lucian's Call. And this is a Bloodletter. Last it unfold. Well, actually, if I never pick up that Bloodletter... Oh, it's not a good one anyways. If I never pick it up, it'll just go to my lost loot. See how a real man fires a revolver? Where'd you go? It's semi-auto, by the way.
Don't call me Fast Fingers McGillicuddy for nothing. Nobody calls him that.
Oh, shit. I'm so glad that frickin' Mel on takedown is farmable. Because Kibsworth is such a good gun. I wish I had a triple projectile Kibsworth. You can get another version of the gun that I'm currently using that fires 3 bullets at once with 1 bullet in the center. But it's incredibly hard to find it and have it be anointed at the same time. Especially when you're not in mayhem mode farming. So. It just melts that frickin' Mayhem 4 ad. I don't even know why it does so much damage. I mean, it hits for 1,300 or so a hit, but if you hit her with a sniper rifle, it's not gonna fucking do as much bullet damage a shot as this thing will. Good. I'm glad I didn't go and clear my inventory to get that crap. I'll go dump and sell some of these. I would use the slam so much more in this game if it was like the pre-sequel. But it has too much of a cooldown. Sell that one. Oh yeah, I never tried that. The 10-gallon. Where it's a auto turret. That could have been useful on her. When did I get that? That'd be good for mobbing. Relax, Bane. Sell that, sell that. Save that. Guns away that are just not usable in Mayhem 4. I mean, that's technically usable, but I need a 53 version of it. I don't really need the Scourge if I have frickin' 4 different ion cannons. The Lucky 7 can stay, because that is a very broken gun. Here, I'll do a Malon takedown run. Gotta take that shit off first, though. This is gonna be a breeze compared to the enemies I was just fighting. I find it funny that like 2 or 3 months ago when I was trying to do this, when it was released, this shit was basically impossible for me. I couldn't even get past the first couple enemies, let alone the frickin' Kraken at the door, and he's not even that hard. And that was just in the base difficulty, no Mayhem or anything. I can't believe there were people who beat it on Mayhem 4 in 4 players. Just not possible without frickin' glitch abusing. And now they have a switch to activate true takedown mode. Oh yeah, that's right, I have the dialogue off. Because of Miss Scream.
I'm counting on you, Vault Hunter.
out of here, Metal Seer. Metal Seer's... Metal Seer Gauntlet is what my brain was going to say there. Metal Gear's Gauntlet enemy. Oh shit, that's right, I never changed my gun. My guns. Fuck him. I was just trying to get my... Why is it not showing my stacks of Phalanx Doctrine? Come on, crit 7, crit 7.
Stay down, scrub.
Monster Hunter sound. Well, the game just doesn't want me to have a crit 7. That's fine.
I gotta head off, take care, Dustin. I make sure to drop by my regularly. More.
It's alright, dude. Don't worry about it. This song and the one in the VIP Tower and the Jackpot DLC, so good. It's almost melancholy.
Hell yeah! Wrong chick.
Nope. Nope. You too? Couldn't quite get him. Any more nopes? Nope. Oh yeah, this is heavy round. The heavies are so much easier to deal with than actual guys.
Who saw that? Just the birds.
Holy particle effects, my dude.
Time for a sprint.
My frame rates.
That's just what I do.
17 stacks of phalanx, Doctor. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun. And music cut. You can actually skip the cutscene. Whoa! Wow, a Borderlands game with a cutscene skip that isn't a third-party mod. Amazatory. I'm simply amazed. And I air shot the brain. Even the game knew that was too easy for me, and it didn't even give me normal mode legendaries. Give me one. That took me 12 minutes. Or 14 minutes. If I could start out with the 7 crit, oh my god. You can go through that so fast. Because the thing that you may not know about how critical hit sends a projectile to another enemy can pass through shields. So if you critical hit a shield, even if it's immune, your bullet will pass through it. The ricocheted bullet that penetrates when you get it. And almost all Jacob's weapons, if not every single one, as far as I'm aware, does that. I know it doesn't say it on that one, but yeah, critical hits ricochet one bullet at the nearest enemy. So what that means is when Wotan's in the phase with the double bubble doesn't actually protect him from the ricochet. If you wait for the opening in the middle shield to be facing towards you, you can hit the shield, and because the ricochet actually has, like, I don't know, I guess you'd call it surface physics or whatever. If you aim at the outside of the shield and the bullet penetrates, it goes at like a 90-degree angle inwards. So you can, like, follow it around the outside of the bubble like you saw me do, and you can get through, like, a quarter to half of his HP in one circle around. But you have to have crit 7. Ooh, there we go, I got it again. Crit 7 element. Which, granted, if this gun worked as it was supposed to, this gun wouldn't actually be as good. Because one of the glitches that is currently in the game with this gun is it has a modifier that's supposed to be random element, but you don't get a random element. You just get shock, and only shock. So against things like Wotan, with the bubbles taking extra shock damage, you can get through them exceptionally fast.
Serving up fresh hot death. Wait, I lost count.
No, I can't move. I'm being cryoed by something. It doesn't matter, you all die anyways. You all die the same.
Hell yeah! Went to the wrong side? Hit dead.
Those were advanced mechs, but we're after something bigger. Keep going.
It's the best song.
What up?
Spring! It's another Maggie. Oh, wow, Auto Bear is active.
Monty's wife don't take no guff.
Too bad I'm not using Auto Bear. Ooh. Oh, but it's only a 3 magazine size. I don't even know how fast that was. That had to have been like a 9 to 10 minute clear, probably sub 10. I know I'm not doing it in a high difficulty, but there are way more people with way more perfected builds. This is literally anybody can do what I'm doing right now, and it's not that hard. It's just get the lucky 7 and the handsome jackpot from the frickin' the Scrap Traps. Scrap Trap Prime. You get it from him. That is really, really good. But I know this was a short stream. I'm not gonna be streaming for much longer. Or, I don't know why I'm saying it like that. I'm getting off soon. I'll probably be back later tonight, but it depends on how tired I am. I'll probably be back tomorrow morning, if anything, sort of around the same time I am now, for another, like, short-ish farming stream. But anyways, have a good one.